The Book of the Dove by Gregory Bar Hebraeus. Chapter the 3rd, on the spiritual rest of the perfect. Section the 1st, on the beginnings of the inclinations of perfection. When, by the hard labors of asceticism, the body has been cleansed, and the mind purified, the windows of the senses have been shut, and the room, the heart, is enlightened, then the dove will show herself to the mind, not lastingly, however, but as a flash of lightning, which appears and vanishes. She shows her beauty, making sweet her fruit to the palate. So the mind is stupefied by her appearance and captivated by a desire of her, and everything, even itself, becomes to it as if not existing. And the soul, on account of the burning fire of love towards her, thinks to perish. When it has reached this stage, great humbleness is sown in it. Here the solitary estimates himself to be dust and ashes, and he sheds tears of joy and pain, of joy because of the gift, of pain from fear. Therefore he will be zealous in frequent reciting of psalms and in kneelings. During his long service, great delight will happen to him, and the recollection of the saints will occur to him, and he will be anxious to imitate them. He will bestow care on comforting the troubled and nursing the ill. Because these offices fall to his lot, on account of his intercourse with the dove, he will afterwards return unto solitude and silence. If he is questioned without necessity, he will not answer. The speech of mortals he will hate like intercourse with enemies. While he is practicing these things, the youthful dove, which is older than generations and families, will again visit him. And if he does not give himself wholly to her, she will scold him severely. Then, according to his warmth or coldness, she will remain with him or withdraw from him. For also youths who are in love with worldly girls know a token resembling this fact, which is poetically described thus: if the beloved perceives true love, this is the token: she comes on her head, not on her feet. Section the 2nd, on the progress of the inclinations of perfection. After the inclinations of the initial actions of perfection, the dove changes her workings on the mind and makes it apt to behold what every contemplative soul beholds and to the receiving of revelations. So she begins with illuminating the intellect by the distinction of the created things in this way, that as sensual things become visible to the bodily eye by the medium of the visible sun, so intellectual things are discerned by the psychic eye by the medium of the spiritual dove. Then the mind abhors the environing things and turns its face away from all that is in heaven and on the earth. It burns with love of the dove and desires to become familiar with her alone. And she, perceiving its burning love and its being tried like gold in fire, will no longer appear unto it as lightning, vanishing quickly, but as a star. A star, however, hidden in a cloud, especially at the time of prayer, which vision cuts off, inflaming the soul and stupefying the mind, so that the solitary falls on the ground as dead. Then he will arise again and prepare himself for vision, and little by little the cloud will be removed, and the eye become enlightened. At this stage, the perfect, when awake, becomes as if he were sleeping. When sleeping, he is reckoned as being awake. Section the 3rd, on the conclusive inclinations of perfection. When, by the things mentioned, the soul has become cultivated and accustomed, the mind acquires perfect freedom of speech with the dove, and placidly gazes at her, and has intercourse with her. And she does no longer appear momentarily like lightning, nor dimly in a cloud, but as abiding in her nest, the heart, and as what she is, namely life, the cause of all causes. She shows herself to the mind, and wonderful mysteries she speaks in it. Then the mind acquires also knowledge of the Word, which was in the beginning, and all has come into existence by it, namely of essential wisdom, and of all the angels of God who are ministering spirits that prostrate themselves before him and praise him. And while the mind is established in the sight of them, their magnificence and their joy, it becomes like them. And when the dove spreads her wings together with the angels and the souls of the just administering her, the mind accompanies them in their flight, and in a moment it reaches with them the cloud of inaccessible light, enters it, is hidden in it, and dignified with the state of Moses, being made radiant in stupefaction by the beauty of the Lord of the universe. On account of the delight it possesses, it cannot return to its former place, save only if its Lord loosens it from its union with him. And when it returns, it baptizes the members of the body with the fire of the divinity, which has remained in it. When it desires to ascend again, the body is near to be dragged along with it, so that it can scarcely be shaken off, like a shoe. Section the 4th, on the unification of the mind. When the mind becomes united with the good one, it ascends from glory to glory by the Lord the Spirit, forgetting not only the things of the world, but also itself, and in the light with which it is clad in that apartment, it sees itself in the likeness of God. And on account of the full cups it drinks in that room, it looses its senses, and in this drunkenness it says, I and my Father are one, and my Father is in me, and I am in him, with other things which the dove warns to conceal, saying concerning them, there is a mystery between me and my housemates. When the blessed apostle became acquainted with these mysteries, he said that he had heard unspeakable words which it is not lawful for a man to utter. And his disciple Hierotheos has transmitted to his disciple Dionysios, when the mind becomes united with the good one, it drops the name of love and affection, for here the lover and the friend become the same person as the beloved and the comrade. So it is with all terms denoting dualism, as father and sonship, praiser and praised, for at this stage the mind is not praising, nor being praised. The unification of the mind has been proved by the same initiated, with examples from the material world. As water is collected in a number of vessels, and the sun rays in a number of windows, and fire in different fuel in which it is enclosed, and the air in a number of pouches in which it is retained, and when these containing things are taken away, their contents again become the one substance of water, sun rays, and so on. So the minds, when the bodies are taken away, all of them become one. And as the body has its origin in the elements and returns to them, so the mind, which has its origin in the divine being, returns to it, that God may be all in all, as our teacher and our leader on the way has taught us. Section the 5th, on the causes of love. The causes of all love are 5: the maintenance of the person, practicing a good thing, outward beauty, inward beauty, a hidden likeness. That in view of all these the love of God is justified, appears from the following. If man naturally loves the maintenance of his person, he necessarily loves him who maintains him, namely God, in whom we live and move and have our being. And if man loves his benefactor without expecting remuneration, how much more must he love God the adorable, who provides him with innumerable good things? I mean the rise of the sun, the moon, and the stars, the variety of air, the water of clouds, rivers, and fountains, the fruits of the field, the animals and cattle, and other things without end. And if outward beauty is loved, how should not he be loved who shows himself to the pure in heart in a habit shining like snow, with hair like pure wool, sitting on a flaming throne with radiating wheels, a carriage with 4 sides? In truth, everyone who is deemed worthy to behold him will reject the love of every creature, and his desire will be unto him alone. And if inward beauty, which is caused by the knowledge of hidden mysteries, and by alienation from sinful passions, and by communion with the works of righteousness, is worthy of love, who should not love him who sanctifies the saints, who purifies the defiled, compared with whose knowledge the knowledge of all creatures is ignorance? And if a hidden likeness is a cause of love, then that man would be a wretch who did not love his Lord, who has made him in his image and after his likeness. Section the 6th, on the delight of knowledge. As peculiar delight happens to man in concordance with the powers which make him attain sensual things, namely touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smell, so in concordance with the mind which makes him attain intellectual things, peculiar delight happens to him. And because in all intellectual things there is nothing more wonderful, amazing, stupefying, and perfect than the Lord and God of beings, the delight caused by knowledge of him surpasses all other delight, and he who has not tasted it will not desire it, as the deaf who has never heard the sound of the cithar will not long after hearing it. In the same way, many persons will not suffer from the annoyance of their not knowing God, though this ignorance causes more suffering than any painful sorrow, just as a torpid member is not affected by fire or cold. Therefore, no man whose mind has been captivated by the desire of his Lord can further be captivated by the desire of anything in the world, and nobody who has found God will not wholly forget the world. When the mind has been salted by the love of God, it will not be troubled any more. He who serves the service of the Lord will quickly put off the habit of servants. This delight will eminently happen to the mind when it has separated itself wholly from matter. As the blessed Paul the Apostle says, "For we now see through a glass darkly, but then face to face." And the holy Gregorius says, "Every good, God-loving soul will enjoy a wonderful delight and exult when it is separated from the body, because what caused darkness has been purified." Section the 7th, on the augmentation of the love of God. The love of God is augmented in the soul when man proceeds in faith, hope, and love, and is strengthened in his state of abstention, when he meditates upon the wonderful works of the Creator, when his mind beholds the divine power that penetrates the universe, when, without impediment, it pervades all the ends of the earth, and farther above all heavens and seas and oceans and all that is in them, without attaching itself to them, without abiding in the darkness of matter, on the contrary, hating every desire, seeking and desiring the good one alone, purifying its inner heart from all beside him, in order to behold, albeit dimly, something of the rays of the essence. And by this glance, short like lightning, the small spark of love will become a mighty flame, making the soul blaze. The friend of God thirsts to behold him, longing after the time when he shall come and see his face. And neither death, nor life, nor things present, nor things to come, nor any other creature shall be able to separate him from the love of his Lord. He fulfills his will, and his lips administer his name perpetually. He consoles himself by solitude, and by sitting in the narrow cell, and enjoys the labors of asceticism. He is meek towards the good and the evil. He prays constantly that his love may not abate. He conceals his love as much as possible, and he loves nothing but him. It is said that the Egyptian woman who loved Joseph when her husband had died believed in God, and when Joseph desired to marry her, she did not consent, for she said, "Before I knew his Lord, I loved him, but now that I know his Lord, I love him, and not his servant." Section the 8th, on the knowledge of God. That the knowing knows the Creator from the creatures is the trodden way that has been leveled by many with labors. The elect, however, who have been chosen by God before to be the vocated and the saints, know the creatures from the Creator. As one of them has said, "By the knowledge of my God I know myself and the world." The divine psalmist describes the former knowledge by, "The heavens declare the glory of God." The latter he symbolically indicates with, "In thy light we see light." The exoteric sages exalt the latter kind above the former, and because the knowledge of God is the cause of loving him, and some people know him not as he is, consequently their love has no foundation. Other people, however, confess him as he is, but only in the way of tradition and audience. Their love, though it has a foundation, is built as upon sand, and shaken by small trouble. The initiated know his divinity by essential knowledge, and the foundation of their love is placed as upon a rock. Neither trouble, nor persecutions, nor sword, nor fire can overpower it. And though all beings in heaven and earth bear the sign of their Maker, and there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard, many do not know him, not on account of his being hidden, but on account of his being so manifest. The mind becomes dull in his light, which is not to be perceived by the senses. For the relation between the human mind and essential light is the same as that between the bat and the light of the sun. Therefore, as the bat, if it possessed the visual strength of man, would be able to see in the sunlight, so the human mind, if it possessed the mental strength of the angels, would be able to see in the essential light. Section the 9th. On the varying stages the perfect have to go through. From their first reaching the state of perfection until the loosening of their tie, The perfect have usually to go through 12 varying states. The first is that of the mind's being baptized in the heart. Here, deliberation is standing motionless. Even the tongue does not murmur praise, and man is not able to bear even the sound of a leaf, but silence dominates the inclinations of soul and body. The second is that of distinction, the mind recognizing the height of its rank, and its being the offspring of God. Here, too, it guards solitude and silence, and if distraction overwhelms it, it is concentrated by reciting the Scriptures and by obeisances. The third is that of love of reciting psalms, so that the perfect is changed with the murmuring of every sentence. And while the words of the psalms are retained in the memory so as to become the propriety of the reciter, even when silent it is as if the divine psalmist speaks to his ears, whilst he hears him playing on the cithar. Thereupon the words are retracted from the ear, but the thoughts remain behind in the intellect. The fourth is that of outbursts of tears, without compulsion and involuntarily, but the fire of love warms the heart and makes tears flow from the eyes. The fifth is that of the knowledge of judgment, and here the love of mankind is born in the soul, which has the same regards for all. Here is neither righteous nor sinner, neither slave nor free man, neither circumcision nor foreskin, neither man nor woman, but it asks mercy for all and concerning all. The sixth is that of the mind's becoming radiant with the rays of the angels, rays composed of light and fire. The mind burns with desire to be united with their hosts and to be mingled with their orders. The seventh is that of hearing the sanctifications of the seraphs, which cannot be embodied in spoken words, but are defined in intellectual sounds. The eighth is that of likeness, while the mind is illuminated by the light without quality, and is changed into its likeness, as the elegant and dense cloud near the sun is transformed into the likeness of the sun. The ninth, that of becoming like fire, while the whole body is plunged into fire. In this likeness Abba Arsenius was seen, while he stood praying in his cell. The 10th, that of unification, is called undescribable by the initiated. All numbers vanish in it. Here no human weakness remains, nor prayer, nor beseeching, no remembrance of what is on the earth, nor of future things, because the mind has become here as receiving all prayers, no longer praying itself, as granting questions, no longer asking itself. The 11th is that of joy without being conscious of its motive. The mind only knows that it rejoices here, not why it rejoices. The 12th is that of outbursts of speech, of explaining hidden things, of searching the things to come, which are written in the arch book, which is the book of the knowledge of God. Section the 10th, on the fall of the perfect. Though the body is sanctified, the heart purified, and the mind made bright in the rank of perfection, still, if the perfect is not cautious against the snares laid by the evil one, he will quickly fall from that height of elevation, as also Beliar has fallen. He is, however, drawn away from evil deliberations as soon as he, beatified by wonderful revelations, rejoices at himself, and desires to reveal those gifts which no eye has seen, which no ear has heard, and of which he has been deemed worthy. So he is zealous to go to towns and villages as a teacher and a redeemer of souls, as an edification and an example to be imitated by many. And he imagines demons which howl and complain of him, saying, "What have we to do with you, servant of God, that you are come hither to torment us?" And further his imagination sees people being healed, and a crowd pressing near to touch his garments, and he places at his door those who seek him, and if he is not willing to go with them, drag him along with ropes. If he is allured thus, he is on the way to return to the world. Then, if he sees one of his colleagues, whose speeches are in better favor than his, and whose teaching is more beloved, he envies him and begins to hate him, as, for instance, Heron of Alexandria, the punctual in behavior, who used to take food once every 3 days. When he was captivated by self-exaltation, his intellect was blinded, and he began to disdain Abba Evagrius, saying, "Those who follow your teaching err, for they want no teacher besides Christ. For he has said, 'Call no man your master on the earth.' And when Satan incited him to go to Alexandria, and he had come there, he immersed himself in the mud of fornication, so that his genitals became rotten and had to be resiccated. And when he was healed, being without those members, he returned anew unto steadiness of mind. Therefore, even if a man reaches perfection, he has constantly to beseech his Lord, Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me.